Hi, Vijay. Thanks so much for doing this session today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me here, Stephanie. Good to see
Um,
you
let-
here.
Good to see you too. Let's start with something you made headlines for. The Competition Commission of India launched an investigation against Google Play and Google Pay for their market dominance. And all this kicked off after Paytm was briefly removed from the Play Store for violating policies on gambling. Um, Subsequently, you launched your own mini app. Why did you feel the need to launch your own app and take on big tech?
Well, I think it's getting more and more clear that uh, more and more people are going to be victimized of big tech's commercial ambitions. And till the time period, they are giving us all an opportunity to distribute, opportunity to reach out to our customers. They are a good platform. But the good platform doesn't necessarily remain perfectly good or great because there are some or other time commercial obligations and interests. So I'd say that we wanted to build a distribution which is sort of distribution which could allow tons of developers to build and deliver their services to large number of customers. And we believe that Paytm has been able to create a large customer base. So why not use that sort of a rail to do it? Just want to put it up here. We are given over credit of as if that we reacted. We can't build a mini platform in a week's time period and launch it. So it was very well in plans beforehand. So just in case, thank you for credit, but it was not a so fast reaction anyways.
Okay, and what has been the interest in this?
I must say that we underestimated what interest would be. That the very day that when we did it, we were surprised that 5,000 people registered, and literally thousands of them came in the live conference. And then late post that, number of people whom we have onboarded, we are actually coping up with the traffic to make it more and more do it yourself, because earlier we thought that we will be able to help everybody get onboarded slow steady and what number of people will come. But the, I'd say, number of developers or number of businesses who want to leverage and partner to deliver has become so fast that we have now accelerated our plan for do it yourself getting onboarded. And that is what we are rolling out soon. We also rolled out a plan for incentivizing or giving money or sort of a grant or investment both ways to the young developers who could build mini apps. And there is a supply, there is a list of developers who have applied for that. So we couldn't have asked for it more. I'd say that if we would have launched a mini app store, it sort of culminated in the same time frame. But I must say that it was one of those necessities that we believe that as a Paytm customer and as a Paytm platform, both we have an obligation.
Thank you for clarifying that. And what was the response of the kind of Indian tech community to your comments against big tech in India? Did you receive much support from other founders, other companies?
Yeah, I think that was unanimously everybody was. I think people have got one or other issue one point of time or other, or they know somebody who have had issue, and that issue is somewhere which should have not happened normally. And that's why I think I'd say that even though there are a lot of companies who are quote unquote our competition, when we look at number of businesses that we do, then some of those they also very much came about and came together in this, and they were not just supportive, but they were active, inclusive, moving forward together. So our interest was to bring an attention to it, and somehow the attention came from United States also. US DOJ also opened an inquiry a few days later. So it got acknowledged that what we are seeing and saying in India is not necessarily just a case with few companies or India, it is case with much other countries. I got calls from people in other part of the world saying we are also looking to do something, or we have something in plan. Would you help us understand how to do it or not? And I said, no, I'm not I run a business, and I can tell you that this was just a surprise activity that happened. And then we
Mhm.
just came about to say that this is not correct. And then I think it just rolled from there, not anything that we accelerated or pushed either. So I'd say that I think big tech has been has been good to the world overall. If you look at that, in the acceleration of technology and advancement in technology and acceptance of technology, overall big tech have been good to the world. At the same time, they carry a strong and big responsibility of making sure that their dominance and distribution of their platform doesn't become stifling to the innovation. It doesn't stop new people to come. It should be an enabler. My concern remains that big tech in many of its activities have started to stifle the innovation and block new people to come forward as a, let's say, new platform, challenger platform, or new something that they want to do. And thanks to the kind of ecosystems they are, I mean, they are not one kind of company, one service company, they are full blown ecosystem. Their uh, I would say influence or their business interests go far and beyond their core business. And that is why it becomes even more imperative that they should not, I'm sure they themselves don't think that they will be only company. They fight themselves also between them. Those are like giant gorillas fighting each other. But we all small young noobs also have aspirations, and we have some solutions and businesses, some good for society built from our side. Everybody needs to coexist is what my expectation would be for all these large technologies companies to look at it.
Okay, thank you so much. Something else that's been in the news is WhatsApp's entry to India. And I mean, I reported, many other people reported that this is going to shake up the Indian ecosystem. WhatsApp has 400 million users in India. Do you see this entry of WhatsApp's payment services as a threat to you?
I think anything that grows the payment ecosystem and increases the customer base is good for our business. We saw, I mean, I'm sure you know this, that Paytm started way back in 2011 as a bootstrap section in the large company. And then 2014 was when we became a little more formal with the product launch, and 15 we got Series A. So we are a young company. We've seen impact of many more players coming in the market. What we've seen it that more players, when they come in the market grows and becomes bigger. And I think when the payment markets become bigger, Paytm becomes bigger, because we are the absolute favorite for customers when it comes to giving the choices to customers to pay. Remember, in the long term, customers choose a platform which has more choices and more options and more opportunities to use as a money source and then pay to the different kind of use cases. We focus on them relentlessly is the reason. Even though there have been not less competition for us, I would say that, I mean, there have been billions of dollars poured in, and like we know many players in the market who have advantage over Paytm, or many more times advantage over Paytm. But we've been the customer's choice with a majority market share when it comes to merchant payments. And I think that's an acknowledgement of that a great product inevitably will win. I would say that we want to win and be the champion of a market where everybody has played, and then we are the outcome. And I think that would inspire us to go to the main market one day in the United States and say that, look, we are coming from a place where we could fight everyone, and here it is. So I would rather be a champion of a market that is open and a winner in that market, or a, when I say winner, meaning customer's choice of winner of customer's choice in that market, over a market which has less number of players. And even though we are successful, and somebody says, yeah, but not really a great success because not everybody was playing on their all energy and vigor, I can say that no, everybody put everything that they had in the ring, and then we were preferred by choice, preferred by customers over everything else that are attempted. So I would say
But then
adding
what do you say to analysis coming out that shows Paytm is actually losing market share to PhonePe, Flipkart's payments apps, and Google Pay?
the biggest misreading that people think is that Paytm is an app, just like those apps are, while Paytm is a bank. So a lot of transactions of ours, a lot of payments of ours happen using bank account, wallet account, and the systems or IMPS and other payment modes which are applicable only for Paytm. So if you notice, of 100 payments that happen on Paytm, what is the percentage of payment that Paytm does using the UPI rail is actually not that large. And that is why they look at as if that percentage is what is increasing or decreasing. Why? Not just majority, but an overwhelmingly large number of our payment happen with the customer and merchant both on the Paytm platform. And those do not go through the switching. So we are happy till the time period our customers and merchants are majority and using us, and as a total sum of market number of transactions, we are majority. We are happy about that. Anybody else, when you look at a fraction of a market share, you're looking at a fraction of a market share. For example, like none of the fellow UPI players except for the banks have their bank in the play. We don't have Paytm app as a UPI app. We have a Paytm payment bank app or Paytm Payments Bank product, which includes bank account, wallet account, linked account, and then FASTag, then NCMC card. There are tons of product and instruments that Paytm has, and that is why I would say that we are the unique player in the market. When everybody else has a one kind of payment, we have at least 6 or 7 kind of payment combined as a choice for the customer. So when you're looking at 1:1, you're looking at a fraction of our payment business volume, which anyways, I always believe is the one of the best choices for the customer, but is not the ample and enough choice for the customer.
Okay. And on UPI, the regulator has said that they are going to cap one company's payments to 30%. Does that help you catch up on this? Is this?
I think as a Paytm, we don't have an ambition of dominating UPI versus being a plain dominant. I mean, UPI is just one of the payment options for the customers, and that's a very decent payment option. I again repeat it that for a commercial viable company in payments industry, UPI is a market creator. UPI is not the market to dominate. UPI is a market creator. It brings the market to playground. It brings the customers to the playground. It brings the merchants to the playground. But if you are
I
out there,
understand you saying that, but if it wasn't a market to dominate, then why put a 30% cap on it? I mean, clearly there's concerns that some players may dominate this system.
because that is, by the way, I did not put the cap, so somebody else put the cap. So what I can have a comment on what the cap means. What I can say is that, again, like I'm saying, number of players in the system allow the system to be a useful. Imagine if internet had servers of only one company, 80% servers belong to one company, and 80% URLs or addresses belong to one company. Or let's say another way, all one payment network, Visa, Master, Amex, Diner, RuPay, right, was dominated by one or two banks, 80% cut. Then this is not called system. I think it was a smart move so that not just UPI, but a payment platform of the country becomes a vibrant enough for multiple players to remain. Otherwise, if one player dominates and one person owns the market share, others don't even participate. Case in point, Android. Do you think Microsoft makes an Android phone? Do you think Amazon makes an Android phone? Do you think Facebook makes an Android phone? Well, the point is that a platform to be vibrant, incidentally, Chinese device makers make Android phone. Nokia came about towards Android phone. So the overall, when you build a platform, you need vibrant, you need large players, but not two players taking over the 80% market share or a 90% market share scenario. And that is important for your system to be called an ecosystem. Otherwise, you're just a two-player platform, then so it is. Other people will start to recede from that. And I think that is why I would say it is a smart move. It supports tens of companies to come forward. I mean, innovation cannot be held responsible only on the hand of one or two players. Like I said, it more number of people bring more vibrancy, more use cases, and more purpose. But if the platform became dominated by one or two players, other players will not even take this as an opportunity. Why? People see that this is a platform for the country because more people can invest in it, more people can expand on it. If it is not so, then it is no more a platform for the country. It is a platform for a few companies then.
Okay, I see your point. Speaking of building ecosystems, we've seen Reliance working on building its ecosystems, and now it's tied up with Facebook and WhatsApp. So I know maybe it's not about domination, it's about making the pie bigger, but here's a company with a history of domination. I mean, how do you plan on fending Paytm against their kind of multi-pronged play into all areas of tech, essentially?
First of all, I'm a big fan of what uh, Reliance Jio has been able to bring in this country. I mean, we used to have data charges which were very high, and the penetration of data network which was not so deep down in the country. What overall, if we look at last 4 or 5 years, what we've been able to see is that the internet penetration in India has become where it is unprecedentedly not expected if at this number it was. And I treat them as an accelerator, as a key player, which catalyst to build this. I mean, obviously, every telecom operator played a part. Every telecom operator expanded the network. Every telecom operator also supported the business for customers to come on the platform. And in these days of pandemic, it is not tough to assume that you will have an internet connection anywhere and you can work from any city. I mean, I have seen it in small cities also that you get 100, 200 Mbps, which is incredible. So overall, first of all, I have huge regard for what they've built. As far as the ecosystem is concerned, I think there is no secret about it that customers having more choices is what is going to win the market. If anybody stops more choices to come in the market, that would be not good. But if anybody brings more choices to the market, it is good for the country, it is good for citizen, it is good for my customer, it is good for any customer. So I would say overall, we need to, as Paytm, not build or defend against someone. We need to build or bring the services to the best of the customers. Because if you notice, when I mean, I'm just trying to bring it back to the topic that Paytm is a bank where Paytm bank customers are the UPI customers, the wallet customers, the bank account customers, the FASTag customers. Now, as a single bank, no, there would be an opportunity for multiple banks in the country. So we're very happy seeing more players coming in the market that accelerate and expand the market, and that plays out to the strength of everyone. And then I can say this, effectively, Stephanie, if I was to tell you how did Microsoft react to Google coming in the search, you know it over the period, maybe Google won the search, but Microsoft did not lose.
Mm.
Similarly, what happened if Google Plus did not work and some other social network won? Well, you did not lose the business. So over the period, very small modes also become huge and big, and addressing them itself is huge and trillions dollars opportunity. That is how you look at it. Everything is never possible by one company any which ways.
What services in particular are you looking to improve as a result of this increased competition? What are the growth areas that you're seeing in Paytm right now?
Our customers can take a UPI address on Paytm app, can basically link a bank account, open a bank account, get a wallet, or get a postpaid credit, the pay later. So as many funding sources the customer can have on Paytm app is what our belief is, that customers will be using that app because customers will have choices of payment sources over any other payment app. So when we look at our payments business, we want to give more number of choices for the customers to pay from. That's point number one. And when we look at our bank product, we look at it that our bank has been phenomenally scaled. I mean, it is one of the least talked topic, and I love it that it is below the radar for everyone, because we are talking 60 million customers in last 2.5, 3 years, 60 million bank account customers. And that number is possible only because we have a completely digital, completely mobile bank. I mean, the bank where you do not need to fill up a paper, or you have an obligation of a paper even when you ask for a debit card. Mostly, if you notice, a debit card comes with a separate letter which says this is your PIN. In fact, our PIN is also not on a paper. You scan in a Paytm app and then you make a PIN generated by yourself. In other words, we are very excited what our bank is able to achieve. Our bank is able to do different segment of customers, young teenagers to the senior citizen to the business. I mean, there is a huge amount of offering. And by the way, I just want to put it on the table here that bank is something where huge amount of innovation simply on deposit and payment is due. I'm not talking about lending here. I'm talking about simply the deposits and the typical money payments and transfers that is due. There's a huge amount of attention that is needed. Thank God for us to have a payment bank license which cannot lend. Otherwise, I think we would have been also headed towards lending as a first attention. But I think in a nice way, we are putting attention on a product where the onboarding of a customer getting his first bank account or the best digital account, either of that, and then ability to that operation of that activities that they can do using the app is something that we are. So we are a born mobile bank. I think that is something that I would say here, number one. Number two, actually. And number three, I'd say that we've been able to expand our payments business. Payments business, if you notice, is a very low margin business. And in case of UPI, by the way, this is not even a low margin business because it is a cost business. Because as a bank, we pay the switch and nobody pays anyone. So bringing that, we've been able to expand and build on financial services. We've been able to build India's probably arguably the best wealth platform here. We account for more number of monthly SIP generated and paid for in such a short span of time. Last year, we accounted for more than 60% of incremental new customers who added to the SIP generated on single app. Again, 6.5 million customers, huge number, expecting in a country where only 18 million has ever gone into the stock market. So wealth
I don't
platform.
think anyone could have imagined that India, which had the reputation of being paper intensive, would ever be paperless so fast.
I totally agree, Stephanie. And that is why they say that India is that giant elephant. When it moves, it shakes people and it takes time for it to move and get ready to move. But that is exactly what I call March of India. The success and the proud factor of being an Indian, I can say, is that I have that patience that it will move. And then once it moves, it definitely is an incredible, huge, giant thing that is moving. So wealth platform, insurance platform, and then with partners like banks and NBFC, we have started to acknowledge that there is a loan requirement for merchants and consumers. So those, so payments, banking, financial services, all three buckets.
Okay. But Paytm also remains unprofitable. I think there were reports that you cut the losses by 40%. But what is your path to profitability and when do you see it happening?
So there is always a choice on our business lever that is in our hand, that we've been able to not only grow our revenue but cut the cost also. So we are seeing this jaw kind of effect that typically a company expects, that if I cut the cost, will my revenue increase? Answer is, we cut the cost and revenue in an order of magnitude increase. So if I cut the cost 30%, it grew more than 30% on our upside. So I mean, a lot more number. Don't want to say the number till the time period they're public and available. So speaking of that, I believe that we are on the path of converting ourselves into profitability in typically 12 to 18 months. I mean, the pandemic has only accelerated that journey because we could reduce the cost, or we could focus on efficiencies, I'd say. So if earlier we were calling it 18 months, we could call it 1 year. So basically FY 2021, which will be 21-22 March, we should in last quarter or last few months start to see a very little less, very small loss at all, because we've been able to generate enough and optimum amount of revenues that contribute towards bottom line.
And where were you able to make the cuts?
The biggest cut that we were able to make was that we were acquiring certain customers and certain merchants who were not retaining on our platform continuously. I mean, cohorts, if you will. For example, like if you acquire a customer or a merchant, those customers are staying for 3 months or 6 months. And we said, no, we want to acquire only the customers who stay for 9, 12, 18 months. So robust customer base, better to have that customer base. And that is the simple one line item that we did. Second line item that we spent was that we underestimated that did we need so many people in the street to acquire merchants. And we found out that merchants themselves, thanks to the pandemic, maybe thanks to the impact of internet experience in India, people were searching us on internet and becoming a merchant much faster and much more in a volume. So last year, if our majority of merchants were being acquired by our sales team and sales executive in the street, this year it is opposite, that it is being acquired by themselves on a DIY platform. So we reduce cost on merchant side also.
Okay, another thing you've been talking about is an IPO, planning a listing. You know, you said planning a listing by the end of 2020. What's happening with that?
2022, I said that we will take time till 2022 to figure out when the IPO should be. So I just want to correct. 2020 was not the plan any which ways. I think Indian government has come about with a positive upgrade message in that direction, that Indian companies can go out there and list. I think it was one of the most important decision to choose which country would you go to list. If it is India, it is which stock exchange and whatnot. I can say that once we are profitable or near profit, like I told you about next 12, 18 months, we would start discussing this as a topic. Right now, like I say, the plan remains that we would first convert ourselves into a break even or near break even. I mean, there is not a commercial obligation to be the break even. The idea is
Mhm.
that the losses should narrow down to that small level that it is no more a loss to be bothered about in the balance sheet. And on that number day, we would definitely start exploring. So the timeline to explore of IPO still remains somewhere in 2021 and 2022 beginning.
Is there a preferred place that you would like to list?
Given a choice and based on what business that we are looking at it, it would be better to list in a foreign market than an Indian market. Which foreign market and which opportunity, it'll all depend on what government of India allows as a domicile Indian company. We're an Indian company, so we need to take permissions of Indian government, ROCs, and so on. So based on that, we could take a decision.
Okay. Um, the border flare up with China, as a company with Alibaba as a major backer, the government asked you to submit queries on structure, tax regimes, data processing, and protection. Have you done that? And is the government asking for anything else?
We were invited in front of Parliament committee, and our opinion is that Indians' data must completely, unambiguously, should remain in India and should be protected within Indian borders. And there is no reason for companies to even, I mean, there is a RBI has given a freedom to that you can process this outside and you have to bring it back. I think there is no extra leeway required beyond that. So
Okay.
we totally fundamentally remain committed and champions of that Indian citizens' data should remain only in India. Anybody who is taking this in the name of something or in disguised in something is not acceptable. So we remain committed to that. When it comes about taxing and so on, we want a equal playing ground for everyone. We don't want companies to build an Ireland subsidiary or some other country subsidiary so that that is billing in this country and then you are not paying tax and you are not even in this country as a revenue. I think everybody should be able to build a fair and equal market. We champion fair and equal market for everyone, international or national companies, and I think that is fair for everyone to expect.
So you don't think you're facing any blowback in India for being backed by Alibaba at the moment?
Our company is Indian as commercially owned, controlled by Indian laws. Our board is completely majority owned and controlled by Indians. And as a shareholder also, we do not have any extra right given to anyone. So we are a Indian entity. Our shareholders can come from a New York listed company or potentially, as you know, and could have been a listed company by now. That's it. That does not make us any foreign company. Yes, our majority shareholders are foreigners. It includes influential shareholders like SoftBank and Berkshire Hathaway. So we're talking about heavy duty, extremely corporate governance centric shareholders, and then completely controlled, governed by Indian laws, and the board that is also majority by Indians. So I think we are completely Indian when it comes to that. As far as the commercial ownership is concerned, yes, we have commercial ownership of foreign shareholders, and that I think we continue to abide by and listen what the laws that keep coming different time to time.
Okay. Um, and on your e-commerce arm, how is that going? And again, with Reliance entering this space, how do you feel about its prospects?
What we've done in e-commerce, I must say that I'm not very happy with what we have done and where we have reached with that. But a bright spot in that is that we've been able to do some good amount of technology expansion for small stores, shops, offline stores, if you will. For example, like if you are a restaurant or if you are a retailer or a fashion retailer, you have now a QR of Paytm Mall that has a store, so you can sell contactless, you can sell from different store inventory and so on. So as far as it comes to the online market share, I would say that we have a lot more to do. And like you said, the competition has come in. Well, that competition is in Reliance is in probably as of now it groceries primarily, but they have RGO and fashion and so on. So probably the market addressable market that we address is a different kind of market. So our market is more unstructured goods market, if you will, not like a a market that typically of the large other players are making as an addressable market. What bright spot that we discovered, but the online is that our offline business and technology is very well appreciated and accepted by merchants. So we continue to remain bullish because it has a lot of money and team expansion is continuing. And we believe that we would be able to build a large ecosystem of merchants, if not online merchants, at least offline merchants.
Okay. And as this competition is intensifying, do you expect to do another fundraising round?
Oh, we have money. We just were lucky to raise money, as you know, a little before the pandemic even sowed the seed. So last year we raised enough money. So we continue to have enough money for next 3 years in our business. I mean, when we would have talked 6, 12 months back, I could have said it 4 years. So enough and ample money in the bank. And looking at the prospect that we are looking at it, our revenue engines have started kicking in, making us reach much less requirement of incremental money.
And are you under pressure from any investors to pave exits?
I think I was lucky that in a way the cap table came up to a cap table of people who have not gone into a exit pressures, so to say. I mean, they are all with flush with heavy duty large money, and I think they are long term shareholders. So it's a very interesting movement, I'd say, that we are reaching profitability, and hopefully then we would give a public market exit. They haven't reached out to us in a proactive manner or talking us something like that. So I would say that, well, we're lucky enough. And at the same point in time, we continue to build the company with the long-term shareholders that we have.
Okay. Last time we talked, we were talking about Japan. How is it going there? And
I'm a fan of Japan. Arigato gozaimasu. I want to say this again. I think the team in Japan, the people in Japan are extraordinarily good. I mean, Paytm and the Pepe team, the way we have come about together, there's a huge respect of each other's ability and capabilities, and that we are a equity shareholder, technology partners. It gives us a supreme confidence and trust that we can build something incredible. Like right now, that platform, Pepe, is right now probably the largest consumer payment platform in the country. And it also is the largest merchant network in the country. So I mean, how it has happened is that we were expecting that Olympics will happen, and we were taking a ambition that by the time Olympics happen, how far we would have reached. So all those energies that we pulled in those days, with a then Olympics moved, we added more features like so there is a fractional share that you can buy there. You know, we have been able to launch services like those. We've been able to launch services like bento pickup, meaning if you're in an office, like, you know, you can place an order and you can go self pickup. It's not a food delivery service, by the way. It's a payment service, because we allowed small stores to create a store on the Pepe app. So brilliantly, number of technologies that we build here, number of technologies that we built in past are powering this. I'm so excited and happy about it that I can tell you that I was in the United States, and I was some event was there, and then some of the you meet a lot of investors and other business guys. They were interested in Paytm, and they were always equally excited and wanted to hear about Pepe. So I think it's a brilliant outcome. It's a phenomenal thing that has happened to us and us to Japan. So I'm happy about it, that now today I can very proudly say that Paytm's technology is absolutely world class. It is not just serving India at a scale, it is also serving Japan in a commercial market like Japan.
just before we sign off, just another question. You were talking about financial services helping you and helping unlock more revenues. But your initial bets in lending haven't, you know, there's been a couple of false starts. You want to be a stockbroker, a lender, an insurer, a mutual fund distributor. But do you have the right users to sell these services to?
So let me put, first of all, lending is not by us. I mean, we don't have a lending license. So lending is of someone else. So lending is a false start is also not a perfectly correct statement, because we are dependent on someone else to give a loan, not us. So lending, I can have an expectation to say, if whenever we are able to work with the best of the partners, which we are right now expanding the partner base as I speak, I'm more than ever before happier with the number of partners that we've got on board. It includes SBI Card, State Bank of India's card division. It includes large banks. It includes large NBFCs. So phenomenally able and capable team, building phenomenally able partnerships makes me a lot more hopeful, more than ever, that now the partners whom we are bringing on board will extend more number of loans and more number of opportunities for merchants and consumers. So well, we never were lending on our book, and nor we could have. And now with the correct kind of partners that we are adding in our side, it will definitely scale. When it comes to the broker, when it comes to the insurer, the good thing is that the distribution business, like Paytm Money is a distribution of mutual fund and stock brokerage, and similarly in insurance, these are traditionally the money making businesses. So they are on themselves basis, individually basis, are actually have started to make money in financial year itself. The reason that our revenues are increasing is because our financial services revenues are increasing. Payment, like I told you, doesn't anyways has a revenue line item to itself.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Stephanie. Good to see
Wonderful
you
to
here,
chat.
and
Good to see you too.
hope Delhi keeps you warm and safe in these tough winter days, because the AQI continues to go up and down.
Yes, thank you so much, and you too.
Thank you. Pleasure.